Jigar Mistry is co-founder of Buoyant Capital. He's joining us right now to talk market fundamentals. Jigar, thanks very much. Great to have you here. I was just talking about the Adani Group stocks, Jigar. Your thoughts, what's going on? I think there was some buzz of MSCI inclusion. I mean, is that it? Or is there something else?
Sorry, Prashant. We don't really track that group very well. We have owned Adani Ports in the past, but as of now, we have very little understanding into how that group actually goes around. So my apologies, won't be able to comment a lot on that.
No problem. Jigar, what's your sense on the market though? Of course, I mean, all these restrictions in states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Delhi, I mean, it doesn't help. The question is, how much does it hurt in terms of economic activity? And then consequently, what's the impact on markets? Your thoughts?
Right, Prashant. So I think, look, markets abhor uncertainty, like nature abhors vacuum. Any outcome which is certain is more preferable than the uncertainty that we have to deal with. Now, look, when the COVID first got introduced into our ecosystem, we were not really sure on, how long this takes. 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. And what we are dealing with now is completely different. The vaccination is on its way up. You have a sort of a semi-lockdown in Mumbai, and you see the cases sort of taper off with lockdowns of a couple of weeks. You're going to see cases which are much lower. And in any case, the infrastructure has improved to a significant extent. Now, the way we mathematically put it, one clearly is that, a 12-month uncertainty is not just 12 times 1 month uncertainty. It's an exponential rise that happens. And therefore, 1 month uncertainty is pretty much livable with. In terms of mathematical equations, if you take a DCF model of the entire country, for example, and push out all sales out by 1 year, the impact should have been 5 to 6%. And the markets fell 30-35%. Now you bring that up to a month, then you're talking about something like 0.5 percentage point impact on your net valuations. And the impact should be 2 to 3%. I think you're dealing with 2 to 3% uncertainty for a month. The idea is actually to get positioned for this month into reopening trades, rather than going into companies for whom it is going to be very difficult to pass on the inflation increase. You're seeing inflation go across the board, not just commodities, but even food pricing inflation, etc., etc. And therefore, companies and businesses, much like staples, consumer discretionary, are going to have a very tough time passing that sort of inflation into the consumer prices. And therefore, the idea is not to look at this 1 month and say, look, let's go hide again. Last time when COVID hit us, we ate a lot more biscuits, and we sort of bought a lot more two-wheelers or cars. And therefore, that is the return of the trade. We don't think that's where one should get positioned. The idea is to look at opening trades and use this 1 month of uncertainty to get positioned in those names.
Jigar, morning. This is Rima here. So how should you play this second wave? As you rightly pointed out, the last time there was buying interest in these IT names, the pharmaceutical names, some of these FMCG companies, got bid up a fair bit. How will it be different this time? And in the next 1 month, in this volatility and uncertainty, which stocks would you recommend buying?
Right. So, the key debate for us is actually three-pronged. One is, what is the extent of demand recovery? 2, how does inflation impact corporate margins? And 3, how does the crude sort of crowds and interest rates crowd everything out? Now, the extent of demand recovery so far, what we have heard is fairly good. You are seeing government expenditure put up in. You are also seeing wealth effect being, prevalent across the board. Food price inflation is actually very good for rural demand. So that is one thing we are going ahead and keeping in mind. Secondly, see, the initial periods of inflation, be it 2004 to 6 or 9/11, where the global inflation is just picking up, that turns out to be very good for a lot of economies, including India. And lastly, crude yield and sort of the crowding out factors, you're not looking at crude levels which has started to impact India more. Historically, those numbers were $70 odd per barrel. Now we think with the kind of FDI inflows and portfolio investments we are seeing, that number could be closer to $75-80, and we are anyway way below that. So if you have that sort of framework, One thing that has sort of underperformed, and I think somebody was mentioning that as well, is banking systems, right? Banks, you take the period starting COVID in, say, end of February last year, the banks are still underperforming by a good 14-15%. Now they've sort of demonstrated that they're very good at providing whatever they thought was the extent of the problem. And over the course of the year, the problem that has emerged is not as big as what they had worried. And in the process, they have continued to underperform. And at the peak in August, this was the largest underperformance seen in the last 20 odd years or so, which has corrected to a certain extent. But I think the stocks have tapered off after the 3Q result. I think going into 4Q, banks are something that we are very keen on, looking at. ICICI Bank and Federal Bank in private sector are our key stocks. SBI is something that we have been bullish for a fairly long period of time. We continue to have that in the portfolio as well. Secondly, as I said, staples and consumer discretionary could be good for a month or so, if at all. But I think they're going to find it difficult to pass that inflation on. So we are rather much more focused on, inflating assets rather than people will find it difficult to pass on those inflating pricing. In terms of IT, I think the large companies, see 4Q, many would know is a seasonally difficult quarter. And you might still see very good numbers. But the way, for the last, I think 4 or 5 months, we have been discussing 3 odd names that we like in the ITES and the ERD space, which is Cyient, FirstSource, and Cyient, FirstSource, and eClerx is something that we have in the portfolio. And lastly, I think the way we play it is through a few reopening trades. Could be a difficult month, but IRCTC, ABFRL, and United Spirits is something that we like in that space.
That's a bunch of stocks for us to digest. Thanks, Jigar, for joining in. His disclosure will also be up for you. We'll slip into a very short break.